Good morning. It is Friday morning, 8:10 a.m. in the morning. I got up pretty early today. I got up at 6 o'clock. My friend was stopping by early this morning, and I wanted to give her a couple of cookies. She was dropping something off for me. And so here I am at 8:10 in the morning because I figured I might as well get going early. Today we're going to be making butter, homemade butter using heavy cream. I got everything pretty much ready except for I forgot to go get my cream out of the other refrigerator. So I'm going to pause you for just a second and then I'll be right back. Okay, I was back in a snap. So, today we're going to be making butter, and I started making butter right when we were in the height of the pandemic. A local dairy farm in Sarasota was coming around with a truck, a refrigerated truck, selling their cream, their milk, their buttermilk, their chocolate milk, cheese curds, anything that they had that they made with milk. They were bringing it around, selling it, because when the pandemic shut everybody down, they were wasting hundreds of gallons, thousands of gallons of milk because they are a dairy farm and they have a lot of cows. So I usually get their cream. That's when I started making the butter, and I was selling it, and I was giving some to feed the children. Some of the money I raised, I gave to feed the children, to kind of help America feed America. So did that for a while, and after I discovered how easy it was to make homemade butter, I decided that I was no longer going to buy butter in the store. Now, sometimes if I'm doing a lot of baking and they've got, you know, butter sticks on sale, I will go ahead and buy that for my baking, because trying to keep up with making butter for everything that I like to bake could get quite costly. So this butter is pretty much what I make for my kids. Brian especially loves my homemade butter. I mentioned to my friend Deb that I was going to make butter today, and she said she needed some butter, so I'm going to make her some butter. And then I'm going to put the rest of it in my freezer for me, because I use it so much that I'm almost out of butter. So what we're going to try to do is we're going to try to use heavy whipping cream. Now, this was an issue when I was up north. My sister and I wanted to make butter because she wanted some butter. My niece wanted butter. And the cream that you get from the dairy farm that I was getting it at, was processed. It's pasteurized, but it's pasteurized at the lowest possible temperature. So it has a lot of that butter fat in it, which is what you need to separate the milk from the cream from the butter. And her heavy whipping cream in the stores, if it's and this says ultra pasteurized, but the other one at the dairy farm didn't say that. The cream up there wasn't working. Now, I've taken this kind of cream before from the grocery store, and I've made butter out of it. So I don't know what was going on. I even had to buy a food processor up there in order to churn it, because that's how I churn my butter. I use a food processor. So it was just kind of weird, because nothing we were doing was working, and I never have an issue with it. We were trying to originally do it in her Vitamix, but I'm not experienced with the Vitamix, so that wasn't working. Anyway, we ended up going to their dairy farm, which was about 40 minutes from her house. However, it was a dairy farm, but they specialize in homemade ice cream. So you go there, you can buy stuff, but they were more popular for their ice cream. So we bought some cream from them, but it didn't come from their cows. It came from a different dairy farm, and they would bring it over and sell it there. That was, to me, kind of bizarre. I mean, if you're going to have a dairy farm, then why not have everything? The milk, the cream, the whatever. But, you know, maybe they didn't have a big, maybe it wasn't a lot of cows. The one in Sarasota, they have hundreds of cows. And maybe that one in Michigan was just a smaller dairy farm, and they just collected enough milk to make their ice cream. Ice cream was very good. However, we did get ice cream while we were there. But that cream seemed to work with the butter. So I'm back to trying this again because I didn't want to drive all the way to Myakka City to go to the dairy farm to get the milk, the cream. Their heavy cream has gone up substantially. It's a lot. It's almost $10 a half a gallon. So that's kind of costly. So I got 2 of these quarts, and I think I could get 2 pounds out of each quart, because it's about 4 cups of cream for a batch of butter. So that's what we're going to do today. I'm redoing my video for my butter. I know I haven't posted it on YouTube before. My daughter-in-law and I were watching one of my old videos of how I made garlic butter, and I said to her, well, I guess I'm going to have to redo that video because I don't make my garlic butter that way anymore, so I should really revamp that as well. But today we're just going to make, well, right now I'm just going to make plain salted butter. Oh, it's not plain. Unflavored salted butter. I don't like to make unsalted butter because the salt actually acts as a preservative for the butter, therefore it lasts longer. I was trying to do unsalted butter, and it was rotting on me really quickly in the refrigerator because there's no preservative, and it would spoil, you know, within a couple of weeks. So I'm going to get my measuring cup because I don't like eyeballing my measurements. I don't have a measurement on this. I don't see one. You'd think that they would make these things with measurements on them, but I don't see a measurement on this one. So I'm just going to measure out 4 cups of heavy whipping cream. Nope. You get 4 cups in a quart. Stupid me. 4 quarts to a gallon. That's correct. All right. So I'm only going to get 2 pounds out of this. One for me, one for her. I might need to go back to the store and get more cream later because my son wants me to make him honey butter. He actually bought some Tupelo honey over in St. Augustine when they were over there on vacation. And it smells divine, and it tastes pretty good, and he wants me to make some of that. So now I have this Tupperware thing that I have my salt in, and it comes with a measure. It comes, but I don't know how much you get in this. I don't know if it's a teaspoon. I should try to measure it so I would know what it is. I can't use that. My measuring spoons are too wet right now because I just washed my dishes. So I don't know. I'm thinking maybe this is a teaspoon. Maybe it's a half a teaspoon because it's not as deep as a teaspoon. I don't know. But I'm going to do 3 heaping scoops of salt. Because that's, to me, that's the perfect amount of salt in the butter. Put the lid on. Now, what this is going to do, and I'm probably not going to keep stopping it to show you what it's going to do, it's going to start blending, and then it's going to get super, super thick, like whipped cream, because when you whip heavy cream, it turns into whipped cream. So it's going to get really, really thick, and then it's going to start getting loose, and then it's going to start getting thick again, and then right after it does that, it separates the buttermilk from the cream, and the butter makes lumps of butter in here. So it's going to be, it'll turn into butter. You'll see what I'm talking about in a few minutes. Okay, so we're turning this on. I didn't time that, so I don't know. When you watch this video, you might want to set your timer to see how long that took. Might have been 6 or 8 minutes. I'm not sure, but here's your butter. See how it... I know that you were probably... I don't know how well you were seeing inside the thing, because, you know, on the top of these things, they got all these caution things. But anyway, it got thick like cream, and then it got thin, and then it got real thick again, and then you could hear the motor going down, you know, when it starts. But when it separates the milk from the butter, right here is your butter. Here's your butter right there. And so that's when you know it's done. Now, when I make my garlic butter and my honey butter, I usually put everything in all at one time and let it go. The Tupelo butter that Brian got is very expensive. It only comes out in certain times of the year. So I don't want to waste money. You know, I don't want to waste it. So when it was starting to get really, really thick, I would probably at that point add the honey. But then again, it might be wise to strain off the buttermilk and then add the honey and just give it another whip for a second, just to get it all mixed in there. So the next step, I have a bowl with a fine mesh strainer in it, and I have flour sackcloth towels. You can get these at Walmart in a pack of 2 or 3 for a couple of dollars. At the beginning of all this, I was using cheesecloth, and I would have to double it up, maybe fold it 4 times. I don't like the cheesecloth because it's stringy sometimes. When I squeeze the milk out of this, my butter was squeezing through the cheesecloth. So I decided I did not like to do the cheesecloth. And these flour sack towels are like old-timey linen towels that my grandma used to use when she would roll out her pie dough or her egg noodles. You know, she always rolled it out on something like this with flour, dusted with flour. Nothing. And she when she used those for that purpose of pastry or noodles, she never washed it. She would shake it out and she would fold it up and she would store it with her flour and stuff, because that was dedicated for that. I do have towels dedicated for certain things. I have one dedicated for butter. I have one dedicated for making the juice with the elderberries. I have one dedicated for squeezing the elderflowers out when I make the liqueur, because it stains everything. Now, I was just throwing these in my wash machine, but they were kind of coming out, kind of smelling sour, sort of. I didn't like it. So now what I do when I'm using them for my butter and I want to wash it out, I just fill my kitchen sink with hot water with some bleach in it, and I just let it sit in there for a few minutes, and then I rinse them out, and then I just continuously rinse them with the hot water. Okay, so now what you're going to do is you're going to take your butter and you're going to pour your buttermilk here into the strainer. You're going to dump your butter in there with it. My hands are clean. Like I was saying the other day, I'm always using my hands. God gave us hands to use, so I use mine. I hear Amanda outside. Some cream in there. Put that back in there. Okay, now the next thing you got to do, I'm going to bring you over to the sink somehow. I was doing dishes earlier. got a couple of things here I'm soaking. So the next thing you're going to do is you're going to bring your bowl over. Well, I don't. I just gather up this linen towel, this linen thing. I just gather it up. Now you don't have to wet this towel beforehand. You don't have to. I don't. I just let it get wet from the... Okay, so now I've got my butter in here. In here is my buttermilk. Now, you can use this buttermilk if you wanted to use it for pancakes, waffles, make biscuits with it, make dumplings with it, anything that calls for milk or buttermilk, you can use it. So, now what I do is I squeeze this butter, I get all this liquid out. Now, when you research how to make butter on other channels or perhaps Pinterest or something, they tell you to rinse your butter with ice water. They actually put your butter in a bowl of ice water and rinse it out and squeeze all that milk out of there. I don't do that. You know, there are some things I do exactly the way they say. There are some things that I don't. And one of those is I don't rinse my butter in ice water. I just don't do that. I just squeeze as much of this liquid out that I can. As much as I can. I need a place to put this. Let me get a paper plate. Put this on here. I'll bring it back over so you can see. Then you open your thing here, and then here's your ball of butter. The other reason why I like doing just squeezing it out this way is because it makes a nice little ball of butter. It makes a nice little pretty ball of butter. There you go. Now what I can do is I can get my scale, see how much this actually weighs, because you're supposed to get 1 pound out of 4 cups. However, depending on the milk fat of your cream, I think that has a lot to do with it. So I have a scale. I got it set for ounces. I'm going to change it to pounds. I'm going to get a paper towel to lay on it, just so it doesn't get all icky. And I'm going to measure, weigh. Yeah, see, it's only 0.88 ounces, pounds. Let me go back to ounces. 3.9, oh, that's grams. 14.07 ounces. So it's not quite a full pound, but that's pretty close. So when I was selling it by the pounds, I was making sure that I would weigh every ball and make sure that they were 1 pound, that people were purchasing 1 pound of butter. So now what I do is I just kind of set it aside, which I normally, if I'm making a lot of butter, I'll take one of my cookie pans and I'll put either a piece of parchment paper on there or several layers of paper towels on there, and I will just line them all up on my tray and then pop them in the fridge out in my, I have another refrigerator outside, and I pop it in the fridge for a while. Then I'll pull it back out and wrap it in saran wrap, and then I have stickers for butter as well. And then I would put the stickers on my butter. and I would date it so I would know, especially when I was selling it, I would date it so I would know which ones to take out of the freezer first, because I would freeze it. The next thing I'm going to do when if I make more cream is I have a food saver machine and I don't have bags. So I will go to Walmart and get those bags and then wrap my balls in the saran wrap, mark it, I could put 2, 3, 4 balls, or just do them one at a time, into a food saver bag and vacuum seal the air, because I was making so much butter at one particular time that everybody had, you know, I'd slowed way down on selling it, and nobody needed butter, so it was just stored in my freezer, which is fine. However, the last ball of butter I took out and I unwrapped it, it kind of started to taste like the freezer, just a little bit. So that is why I'm thinking about the vacuum seal bags, because then there's no air that will get in there, and they will still stay super, super fresh in a vacuum seal bag. So that's what I'm thinking of doing if I start making a ton of butter again. So that's it for my butter lesson. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you get some use out of it. If I do any garlic butter in the near future, I will make another video on just garlic butter or honey butter. These 2 balls of butter are just going to be plain salted right now. So, tomorrow is Saturday, and we are going to go elderberry picking. So I will most likely make another video on picking the elderberries, because I would really like to show the process of picking, processing the berries for the juice, to freezing the juice. That way you can see exactly how we do it. And you saw how I made the jelly out of the juice yesterday. So it's all part of the process, but it's kind of cool if you get to see the complete process, you know, like kind of doing it backwards, because I should have went with picking, then making the jelly or the juice, but I didn't know we were going to go picking tomorrow. So we're going to get up early and we're going to head out, and we're going to do that because here in Florida, it gets very hot very quickly, and the feels like temperatures down here have been like 108, and it starts to rain in the afternoon. So anyway, that's today's lesson on butter making. Have a great day, everybody, and I'll see you on the next one. And thank you for subscribing to my page. If you have not subscribed, please hit the subscribe button. I would really appreciate it. Give me a thumbs up. You can leave a comment or a question if you have any questions about anything I'm doing in my videos. I'll do my best to answer your questions. Have a great day, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.